Today, we talk about the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Hailing from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Bret, the Hitman Hart. He has done it all in his career, whether it was a tag team champion, an intercontinental champion, a multi time World Wrestling Federation champion. Of course, in his WCW run, he was the United States champion and a former world heavyweight champion as well. But the story really begins in his father's promotion in Stampede Wrestling in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where he would team with his older brothers, kind of feeling the business, getting used to the business, and then eventually breaking away from his brothers and becoming a singles competitor and having matches with the British Bulldog, Dynamite Kid, Bad News Brown. And they actually had one of the first ever ladder matches in 1982 in that promotion with Bret the Hitman Hart. And of course, Vince McMahon would not necessarily buy the promotion, eventually buy the promotion, but at first it was a partnership between them and Stampede Wrestling because he wanted to move into Canada and he knew to do that he needed the help of Stu Hart. And of course, in the deal, the top talent like Dynamite Kid, the British Bulldog, Bret the Hitman Hart, Bad News Brown all ended up in the WWF. They actually wanted Bret to be a cowboy at first, and he's like, I'm not feeling that, brother. So he came up with the idea of teaming with Jim the Anvil Neidhart and becoming a heel and essentially forming the Hart Foundation. And it was off to the races. They built chemistry between him and Anvil and Hart. They would have matches with the who's who of wrestling, whether it was Demolition, the Bulldogs, the Rougeaus, the Nasty Boys, the Brain Busters, the Rockers. They were just an incredible tag team and they had chemistry with everybody. Of course, they were multi-time tag team champions as well. And then Bret would get his big break at SummerSlam 1991, where he would go up against Mr. Perfect for that coveted Intercontinental Championship and win the Intercontinental Championship. And this was really the first match that started to put Bret on the map because it was a technician versus a technician. And then he would go up against Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 8, which was another classic match where he would regain the Intercontinental Championship. And it was really a brawler versus a technician. And then, of course, he would go on to face the British Bulldog at Wembley Stadium, one of the greatest SummerSlam matches of all time. And it was really a technician versus a powerhouse. So in 3 matches, he really showed that he could work with any type of wrestler, and that is how he won his first ever WWF Championship at a house show in Canada against the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And of course, he would go on to defend that title against anyone and everyone, whether it was Razor Ramon or even Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9. And then he would go on to become the first ever King of the Ring in 1991 and have 3 incredible matches at that King of the Ring against 3 different opponents. Again, showcasing his ability to work with anyone. And then would be the co-winner of the 1994 Royal Rumble and go on to feud with not only his brother at WrestleMania, but also Yokozuna and win the title at WrestleMania, and then go on to feud with his own brother Owen at that year's SummerSlam in an incredible cage match. And he would work with everybody, whether it was Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, had incredible chemistry with Diesel and The Undertaker, and of course put Stone Cold on the map at WrestleMania 13. Had one hell of an Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12 with him and Shawn Michaels, and I truly believe, I don't know of any other 2 competitors that could have gone an hour the way they did in 1996. And of course, a lot of people don't know that he was actually considering making the jump to WCW in the early 90s had they not eventually given him that opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship. And then, of course, later on, the World Wrestling Federation Championship. But of course, all good things come to an end, and we get the Montreal Screwjob that we continue to talk about to this day. And he goes to WCW. And WCW didn't know how to use Bret the Hitman Hart. They had no plan for Bret Hart. Did he go up against, great competitors? Sure, he had matches with Ric Flair and Diamond Dallas Page and Chris Benoit and a lot of other people, but he was a guy that you could have put that United States title on, or even television championship on, and helped elevate guys like an Eddie Guerrero, a Booker T, a Chris Jericho, a Rey Mysterio Jr., a Dean Malenko, again, a Chris Benoit, because they were all kind of stuck in that no man's land, and you really could have used Bret Hart and even a Kurt Hennig to raise those guys to the next level. And even when Bret had the world title, you could have done the same thing. He could have worked with all those guys and brought them up to the next level again. But they all left because they were put in a glass box, and unfortunately Bret's career ended with a kick to the head that gave him a concussion, and that was the end of that. But overall, he is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. He has done it all in the wrestling industry. And